we're now on to tier 2. Look, I know I said 10 minutes, don't shoot me. But no, I had to eat food. I'd forgotten to eat. Hopefully that's put the stream link in. Yep, we're live. That's good news. Yeah, I know I said 10 minutes earlier. Don't hold me to that because I had to go eat. I said that and then remembered immediately that I had actually got to survive as a human being. So yeah, that's why we're a little bit late. I actually wanted to eat food. I know, shock horror. But yeah, I've done that, and now it is 5 past. It's almost 5 past 2. We will get going at 5 past 2. We'll do everything here, there. Go run through the grid and everything at 5 past 2 to give people time to join, and then we'll get going. Hopefully with the aim to finish this somewhere, 55 minutes, 5 minutes in between. This goes somewhere around about the 10 past 3 mark, I reckon. So in between, around about 3:15 is where I reckon we finish off today. Which is fun, which is exactly what it is. I have no problem with that. And then I will, on the end of this stream, I will immediately be opening up a lobby for Le Mans. So, yeah, let's sort that all out. Yeah. Just, right. Given enough time for people to head into the stream. Everyone in the stream, welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining me today. Tier 2's turn. We did Tier 5. It ended about 30 minutes ago at this point. But we just did Tier 5's comms. If you want to go and watch that at some point, please do. If you haven't already. But yeah, now it's turn of Tier 2. The first of the ones, the best tier with post comms. Supposedly. Let's see how long that lasts. Right, so let's run through the grid. So, Bosnian looking to capitalize again on a good week for him last week. Starts himself on pole position. Once again, starts beside OG. Honey Badger was on pole last week, but Bosnian this time, the Mercs are having a good run at this. And you got Turbo Boy in third in the RCZ, which is high for Turbo. Let's see if he can actually capitalize on that. You got Honey Badger fourth. Would expect a lot better than what he did in the sprint last week, and yeah, he ended up winning the feature race by quite a significant margin in Dragon Trail. Then you've got Perry, who I believe is starting in his highest position so far as a result of qualifying this season. Maybe he can actually use this to actually do something for once. Then you got Asseldor in sixth, who starts alongside Perry. Let's see if he is going to teleport across the screen today. Then you got Tepos in seventh. Dan making his debut. That's not a name I remember. In eighth. Not a bad start either. And you got Ross in ninth, who, well, got a podium last week, and quite frankly, should be doing better than ninth. And you got Pasty in 10th, who has not got going in the Subaru. Maybe that changes today. Faxid in 11th. Mortal in 12th, who's just fallen completely off since the first couple of weeks. Then you got Nectar in 13th, who seems to be rooted to this kind of spot. Chris in 14th, and I don't know what happened to the dude, but the dude starts in last place. All right, let's go. I think it's time to get us going properly with all the headlights and not being able to see into turn one. There's 5 red lights. It's lights out. Wait. go. Who's going to get the best start here? Bosnian by a country mile. It's unlike the guys in Tier 5. The front row got off to a blazing start. And Bosnian is away already. He's going to get down to turn 1. We're not going to be able to see much of anything in this period of time. Turbo Boy's still in 3rd and Honey Badger's still in 4th. They're going side by side through turn 2. And it looks like Turbo Boy on the inside of turn 3 is going to have a good enough run at this. And yeah, he will in fact hold his position, albeit a little bit of a switchback here from Honey Badger on Turbo Boy. And Turbo Boy is actually going to lose his position as a result of that. Is blinding. Holy crap. I do not like the headlights. He's still got Turbo Boy's not really been able to recover against Honey Badger. A little bit of contact there. I think someone's had a little bit of a mess. Someone has had a mess. It's OG. What's happened to OG here? He's taken the lead of the race off Bosnian in the beginning sector. Oh, it's too much grass. Way too much grass. Oh, you're never going to get away with that. Never going to get away with that. Nice move there from Dan in the inside of 5. As we now go up the hill, Turbo Boy and Asseldor going at each other out of the start. Oh, that's Tepos in the gravel. That's Tepos in the gravel back there now. That's 2 people out already. Dude is already up to 7th somehow from 15th. And we're not even at the end of lap 1. Not entirely sure how the hell that happened. But we're going down towards the hairpin in the first lap now. And Dude's going after Perry, as we saw a lot of these two last week. Factored there as well, and it looked like Ross and Pasty are going at each other. Ross went very deep, so Pasty's going to take that position off of Ross without much of a problem. The Nectar and Mortal also trying to fight each other on the way through here as well. OG, Chris and Tepos not really doing much at the back there. Let's see if we can see things towards the front here. The Turbo Boy's cleared Asseldor now, is going after Honey Badger, as the Mercedes are currently 1-2 in the sprint. We're going down into turn 1. Here comes Turbo Boy on the inside. Just too far away. Just too far away, realistically, to get a hold of Honey Badger in the beginning of the second lap here. Asseldor, who is just leading a little bit of a train right now. You got Dan in this, I believe that's the Super 97. That is the Super 97, yes. And right behind Asseldor and Perry, followed by the Dude after that. And Faxid trying to get himself on the back, and it's actually reasonably close to the Dude. And we know the history between these two. These two have been intertwined the entire season, mainly through basically every incident under the sun at this point. Let's see if we can see what's going on further up the front. And it doesn't look like that was a particularly good set of corners there for Honey Badger, but he'll take it nonetheless, stay second. Not really threatened by Turbo Boy at this point in time. Bosnian is in the same position. It's roughly the same kind of feeling that Tier 5 gave us at the beginning of that race, where Moose and Jin just drove away off the start and never really looked back until, well, mistakes cost them in the end, shot themselves in the foot quite badly. It looks like they were in the same kind of boat here, because Bosnian is away. Bosnian has a lot. He won the sprint last week. He seems to be a very good sprint driver, especially in Tier 2. He knows what he's doing. See if he can get it over the line. We're on to lap 3 now. Going to be a 9-lap sprint race, I know that much. I think I'm pretty sure it's 9 lap anyway, maybe 10. I don't think it will be 10 though. And Honey Badger goes off the track entirely to go around turn 1. It's an extremely interesting line. We only saw Moose King do it once earlier. It's just a really interesting line to widen it. It's obviously valid. The game not giving penalties for it, so it must work to a certain extent. Dan is fighting Dude and Perry quite drastically here. Dude goes up the inside of Perry at turn 4. Will he get it? Now he's on the outside of turn 5, which means Perry should be able to put this one away. They're going to go through here. Dude goes very deep, and now allow our Faxid into the fold. And now these two, who have a lot of history, go after each other. Our Faxid down the inside. It's clean, but it's a switchback, and oh, that's beautiful. There by the Dude on our Faxid, who just got that right in every single sense of the word. He's also going to have a penalty, so not really going to take much after much to give it back anyway. He actually hasn't given it back somehow after his half-second penalty. Dude with an incredible switch back up the hill. I don't think we've seen that one yet. We'll take, but it was a pretty good move. Dan has managed to clear Perry a little bit, much more than he was at the beginning of turn 5. Perry in the Porsche is still trying to work forward instead of work backwards. He's lost a place on the lap so far. The front of the grid separated reasonably similarly at the moment, about second half I reckon between all of them, as Perry in the Porsche against Dan the Man in the Super 97. The speed should be with the Super 97, but the braking here will be with the Porsche, and down the inside goes Perry, and Perry gets that position to take his 5th place back, and he's back where he started. Dan the Man just getting caught out with the braking zone of that Super 97, doesn't really have much chance of defending very well against that Porsche, I'll say that much. But it looks like our Paxton and Dude are going at it again. Those two cannot leave each other's side at this point. And Dan the Man is still closing back in on Perry. The front of the grid still relatively separated in the same manner as it was before. Asseldor just tailing off the back of the front 3 though. And oh, that looks a little bit deep there, as you probably still get away with that without a penalty. I'm not entirely sure how deep the penalty system is in terms of that corner. Our Paxton has got past the Dude as well, as we were too busy watching Dan go through, or attempt to go through on Perry, as Dude is a little bit wobbly on some of these corners in that Viper. The Viper's going to have no tyres by the end of it, I can promise you that much. The Jaguar versus Viper is something that's been happening a lot, and it looks like a little bit of dirt kicked up there, and you don't want to be touching the grass all that much, as Dan the Man is currently doing, going left and right. Too much grass on the inside, too much grass on the outside, and that'll allow Perry to get gone. Perry is very much clear of Dan the Man at the moment, and also very well, Asseldor very much clear of Perry, and has absolutely nothing on his teammate, who is still there and thereabouts with Honey Badger, but not really doing anything to force the needle. And Bodnian, well, Bodnian's gone. Bodnian is in cruise control. He started on pole, he got a good start, and he's not looked back again. And it's one of those races, we're getting a lot of those in the races I'm commentating, where one guy gets a very good start, or gets a lucky, gets a break, puts himself in the lead, and just does not look back unless there's a mistake. And as in the case of Higgsy earlier on, Higgsy just basically plowed himself into the pit wall. Which is always not a good sign. But he ended up coming back to win there anyway, so we'll see. It's been done. We'll see whether or not any twist in the tail is coming in this one, because it's been very, very straightforward so far. Bodnian very much clear of his teammate in second, the 1-2, as it stands in command of this race anyway. Not entirely sure about the championship. You got Turbo Boy in third, and Asseldor has got a second penalty. That'll bring him into the grass of Perry, as we got Dan, our Paxton, and the Dude all going at each other down this straight here. There's a lot of the cars are just really close to each other, but not really in the position to make anything actually happen. Viper 8th and 9th at the moment. Our Paxton is trying to catch up to Dan the Man, but straight line speed is just doing a number for him at the moment. We'll see if our Paxton's going to be able to get close enough, or the tyre wear going to come back to bite him eventually. Dan's got worse front right, and our Paxton's got a better front right and worse basically everything else. See whether or not things are going to get affected sooner rather than later. Dude getting a little bit squirrely out of turn 5 there. Ross is in 10th, Pass is in 11th, next in 12th. He seems to be tied to that position very much as well. Tepos and OG have just not been able to recover from their mistakes earlier in this race. We're still fighting here for the mid positions. Perry versus Asseldor as well. Asseldor has his second penalty. He served that now, and Perry did not get close enough. So Perry is there, but he's not overtaken Asseldor just yet. So let's see if Asseldor can hold on to this fourth place, because that's what he's currently in right now. And Perry is getting closer. Well, I say getting closer. He lost a little bit of time there in the third sector, but down the straight should help him ease that gap back in. We'll see whether or not things are going to happen down the straight here. Perry is too far away. He's not going to get anything. Neither is Dude. Arfacted. No one really making any sort of a move here whatsoever. No looks for an overtake. No even. Oh, okay. That didn't look too great for the Dude. It still doesn't look too great for the Dude, who's managed to wrangle control of his car back. That could have been a lot worse, as he struggled to keep his car in a straight line out of turn 2, made too much on the inside. He survived in the end. Dan's got a half-second penalty. Arfaxid had the inside line, and now to the outside line goes Arfaxid. Arfaxid versus Dan, and it's still going along the inside line for the Super 97, and he's got a little bit squirrely, and that will allow for Arfaxid to go through. Will it allow for Dude to go through? They're still side by side, going through the corner, and Dan holds on against the Dude there. Half a second penalty will drop Dan like 4 positions here. Just rather unfortunate for one slight mistake. Here goes the penalty being served by Dan, and the Dude goes by, Mortal goes by, and I believe that's Ross as well. He's going to go by as 7th place now for the Dude. He gets Arfaxid in his beloved 6th. There's something gone very wrong there. What on earth? Hold on, what the hell did the Dude just do? What did the Dude just do here? He's going to cut across the corner here, because he has got that all sorts of wrong. I'd be very surprised if that's not a penalty. Yeah, that's 2 seconds. That's not at all surprising. The car just does not look like it's stable. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's gone. Dude has gone off the track. Dude is off the track into the gravel, and well, the 2 second penalty wouldn't have helped anyway, but he's gone off the track. He's going to go to the back now. Let's see if we've got any actual sorts of an attempted overtake somewhere. Perry is still too far behind Asseldor to make something work. The first half of the lap has just not been much of anything at all for Perry, and then he gets back in the second half of the lap, but then he has to get down towards turn 1 and can't make the move, and he is just completely stuck at this point. Arfaxid has now got some daylight in 6th, Mortal in 7th. Dan in 8th has got to go against Ross. Ross hitting the back of Dan there. It looks like Dan's going to survive regardless, though. He's, if anything, that little bit of contact may have helped him rather than hindered him. Ross stayed ahead of Pasty as well for the time being, as that did not look good from the Subaru on the exit of 5. As we go to 6 and then back up the hill. We'll see whether or not there's going to be actual overtakes attempted at some point. Perry is still close to Asseldor, but still not close enough to Asseldor for it to mean anything. As we're on lap 8 now. We've gone through 13 minutes. There are only going to be 9 laps in this sprint race, which means that Bosnian and Honey Badger are in cruise control right now, and 1 lap away from a 1-2. And we've got Asseldor, who's also got Perry where he wants him now as well, and Perry's just dropped off a little bit, which means Perry's not going to do anything into turn 1, because Perry needs an aggressive side to him, which he doesn't currently have this season. I haven't seen an aggressive side to Perry since he was in Tier 4. But yeah, it's unfortunate for Perry so far. He's just not got off the ground this season whatsoever. And then you got Mortal. Ross has got past Dan in the end. So Ross is up into 8th, Dan in 9th, Tepos in 10th, Nectar in 11th. They're all taking Tepos and Nectar took the position off Dude, who I believe is at the back at the moment. We've got OG and Chris and Pasty who are fighting at the back here. And Chris is going to have this on the inside. We'll take a very quick look at this battle before heading back towards the front of the grid. And yeah, Chris is going to have this one. Pasty will drop behind OG when he takes his penalty halfway through the lap as well. As we go back through, There's nothing here for Ross against Mortal on the last lap of this race. What about Perry versus Asador? Nothing here either, and Turbo Boy has dropped significantly off the back of the Mercedes. So it's just a case of getting to the line now. And we're actually going to go there. We're going to go to the final sector and watch Bosnian now. As we're going through. He's got 2 corners left to go now, Bosnian. For 2 sprints in a row. Can he do it? He goes on the second to last. He's avoiding a penalty. He's getting himself through the final corner. No pit wall on the right. And he's going to go to the line now to 2 in a row for Bosnian. In terms of a sprint, he wins in the Dragon Trail sprint and he wins in Barcelona sprint as well. Honey Badger doesn't pit this time to actually get a good feature place and comes second. Turbo Boy gets third, Asador 4, so it's a 1-2 Merc, and 3-4 RCZ. Perry gets 5th, off backs at 6th. Ross 7th in the end. He beats Mortal to the line. I'm actually going to see how that happened. And it looked like Mortal had a good time. Mortal was comfortably in front going through the second and last. Let's see how this happened, because Ross gets a good run. He gets a very good run. And Mortal just not got enough speed, and Ross just pips him at the line. Ross pips him at the line for 7th, Mortal 8th, Dan 9th. It's an alright debut for him. Tepos 10th, the final point score. Nectar in 11th, Chris in 12th, Pasti in 13th. OG did not get by him in the end. OG in 14th, and Dude is going to come last in this race. And there you go. That's the end of the sprint. Dude pitted onto mediums. That's certainly an interesting way of going about things. I'm taking a drink very quickly in between the races. Also taking an opportunity to say hello to everyone, whoever else joined after the start of the stream, and if anyone's new or anything to this stream, welcome as well. I'm just going to go and find the second race here, and then we'll be up and running for the 40 minutes at Barcelona. Have you really, Perry? And by heroic, I'm gonna guess you mean in a wall in about 4 seconds flat. We'll see. Yeah, it's just loading up now the sprint race, the feature race. Sorry, don't want to be don't want to be loading up the sprint. We've just watched 15 minutes of the sprint, so. There's no use to us at all if we reload that one up. But we will very quickly stop that because it had the final results. That's so ridiculous, by the way. It had the final results on the right-hand side. So I tried my best to avoid looking at that as much as humanly possible. All right, so feature time. I'm going to take one more quick drink. I feel my throat already starting to go haywire after the last couple of hours. But yeah. This is the final race, and then I'm all caught up on comms. It's a miracle, right? It's been a couple of weeks. I say I'm all caught up on comms, like I don't have a couple of personal projects I still have to do. But yeah, we'll not talk about that now. I don't want to depress myself thinking I've got so much comms to do at this point. Yeah, right. So going through the grid. I'm going to take a wild guess and assume every person is on a medium tire. And I would be right. So, the grid as we go. Dude is starting on reverse grid pole. Let's see if he can actually convert that reverse grid pole into a win. He has won one so far this season. We'll see if he can do that. OG starts second after a horrible sprint race by his standards, after probably putting in 1,000 laps. Pasty in third, who has just continued to just not get going in that Subaru. I don't know what it is about the Subaru. It's not getting it to work. Chris is in fourth in the Jaguar. We saw Jaguar do pretty well in the sprint earlier. Let's see if Chris can do pretty well in the feature today. And then we got BMW, Nectar in fifth, Epos in sixth in the GTR. Teammate did abandon him earlier on in the season, so I kind of feel sorry for him for that. But then you've got Dan, the man, in seventh in the Supra 97, Mortal in eighth in the Viper, Ross in ninth, and Porsche Faxed in the other, Jaguar in 10th in the Porsche sandwich with Perry 11th. And then you've got the two RCZs, Zasseldor 12th, Turbo Boy 13th, and then the two Mercedes, Honey Badger 14th, and Bosnian at the back of the grid. For those that aren't aware, it's do 15 minutes, and then the reverse grid at the end of, basically the grid at the end of that 15 minutes, the sprint gets reversed, and that's how we start the feature. So everyone on the medium tires, so everyone knows that the strategy is just going to be a medium soft. So I think with that, we can get going. We will get going on the Dudes Calendar. They're probably going to get started about past. So down the straight at Barcelona. Who's going to get a good start? 2, 1, and we are off. Dude is away. The acceleration on the Viper should give him a decent run down into turn 1. OG is directly behind him, and Chris has got Pasty off the start. Pasty's bad season continues off immediately here. Nectar is, I think Nectar's back there somewhere. I can't tell through the headlights. Yeah, so Nectar is in fifth. Nothing really happened there. Well, Dan the man trying to get past Mortal. They're not able to do it at this point in time. Ross is also there and thereabouts on Dan the man. They had a big battle in the sprint as well, to see if they're able to continue that into this at all. And Dan the man not able to take the inside line there against Mortal, and therefore just dropping back into the hands of Ross more than anything else. Faxed is in a Porsche sandwich right now. Where the hell is Turbo Boy going? What has happened there? What has happened there? Turbo Boy going up the hill now, fighting Honey Badger, the Bosnian. I was going up the hill as well as we go down towards turn 5. And, oh, he's just missed it. He's just missed everything. Turbo Boy has just missed everything. Fair enough. Well, it's just gone way overshot. So Turbo Boy's at the back now. Turbo Boy to the back of the grid after his mistake at 5. And it looked like Hasseldor and Honey Badger getting a little bit close and personal there. But they could keep coming after each other up the hill. Doesn't look like much else is happening down into the beginning of the third sector. We're going to have a little bit of a fight here between Perry and Tepos and our Faxed. By the looks of things, our Faxed dropping back a couple of positions already. We'll see whether or not anything is going to happen elsewhere. What about the front? So we go toward the front. Chris has got past here, but that happened earlier on. We covered that. And OG is coming after the dude with something pretty fierce right now. Let's see if OG can get past the dude here. Go down toward turn 1 for the lead of the race. And we're in lap 2 here. Will the dude hold on? OG to the inside. OG to the inside against the dude. The dude is on the outside, and it's not going to happen. OG on the inside going to take that position and take the lead of the race. It was pretty lightly defended there by the dude against OG, and someone has gone off to. Someone has decided that Narnia is a better place than the track in turn 3, and I think that was Chris. Yeah, Pasty overtakes Chris again as Chris went off the track early in the corner, as Pasty slides his way through turn 4. And so does Chris. Nectar's trying to open a door or two for himself at this point, and will open a door or two for him at this point. Got to go the inside of Chris, and doesn't go for it a second time, which is surprising. He could have definitely had that. And Mortal is now right on the back of these guys as a result. Dan is up into 7th. He got past Ross again. in this one. There's Perry also there as well. Faxed in 10th, Vasildor in 11th, which means something happened to Tepos as he's been overtaken by the three guys that were the top, three of the guys at the top at the end of the sprint. I feel sorry for everyone who's seeing this sometimes, but these headlights are blinding. Maybe it's just me because I don't have my light on. It's extremely blinding to me. We go through. Just trying to figure out who's where and see if there's anything actually going on. It doesn't look like there is at the moment. It looks like Turbo Boy has also managed to get himself back onto the back of everyone right now. Same with Tepos there as well, trying to get himself on the back of the two Mercedes who are trying to fight their way through the grid and are being stopped quite drastically here by Hasselhoff. Oh, someone's had a bit of an issue. Someone's had an issue. Perry. Oh, no, Perry. What has happened here? He goes through to turn one and he's got off the, well, he's slid his car at the very least down to the inside of turn one. And oh, is that collision with our Faxed? I'm not entirely sure. It might have been, our Faxed's off the track as well. Our Faxed's got off the track as well. And both of them are off. They're both Perry and our Faxed go to the back of the grid now. Tepos also there as well. Perry somehow surviving much more than our Faxed did. Our Faxed into the gravel early on. Early into the lap. On lap 3. And Hasselhoff is still holding Honey Badger up with within an inch of his life at this point in time. And Hasselhoff is definitely losing time to Ross and company in front. Look at that gap starting to develop in front, and Dan's still holding off Ross as well. Mortal also being caught up by the two behind him right now. Nectar in 5th, Chris in 4th, Pasty in 3rd, still hanging in there for the moment in time, and Dude and OG are still there as well. It's been surprising. The guys that are supposedly, or were supposedly the quickest in the sprint, not going anywhere anytime soon. Hasselhoff doing one hell of a defensive job right now. He's still there. Bodnian's turn this time. Where is Honey Badger gone? Honey Badger's dropped off a little bit. There is a penalty for somebody. So at the back is Honey Badger's got a penalty. As Turbo Boy is going to go for it here, and so is Bodnian. So Bodnian on the inside of Hasselhoff. Will he get it? He will get it here. He absolutely will. Bodnian's got in front, closes the door, shuts the doors real close there by Bodnian on Hasselhoff, and definitely gets that position. Also Turbo Boy ahead of Honey Badger, and then you have Perry and Honey Badger also fighting as Perry goes in and goes too deep. Goes a little bit too deep, and now Honey Badger going for the switchback. He has a penalty, but he's not going to be able to get the switchback either because he's on the wrong side of turn 5. So Perry is going to get that move and he's going to have it stick just about, but he's going to have it stick nonetheless. Up the hill, I think Honey Badger will get overtaken by Tepos as well. As we get to the front, OG is clear of the Dude, who's clear of Pasty at the moment. And everyone seems to be separated relatively evenly as Immortal now gets by on Nectar as we go down the back straight. You have Ross and Dan behind as Ross got past Dan on the last lap or so. We'll see what is actually what is going to happen here. There's got pit, well, we're nowhere near the pit time actually. Only 4 laps in. So we've got still the top 4 remains untouched apart from the order that they're in. The Dude and OG, the only ones that have actually swapped there. Mortal in 5th at the moment, trying to make his way back into the title race, but considering the last couple of weeks have not been kind to him whatsoever. And it looks like Nectar versus Ross is now going to be the battle. Ross has dumped Dan the Man for now. You see Dan the Man in the background is also in his own little fight, this time with Bodnian. And Ross is not going to be able to get past Nectar in this corner, and turn 4. He may have to wait a little while longer, maybe into the hairpin if he's lucky. Might end up having to might end up having to actually do a move down toward turn 1 on the prior lap, and I can imagine that he doesn't want to stay behind for too long, because all this is doing allowing for the top 5 to grow a little bit more of a lead. OG is comfortably in the lead at this point in time, without question. No real change in that since the first couple of laps when OG got past the dude. As we're continuing to watch it, here comes Ross to the inside. It looked like he was going to try and send one on the inside there on Nectar going up the hill. Decides against it quite late. Bodnian got past Dan the Man, and now Hasseldor is the closest one to Dan the Man as well. So we're starting to wander their way through here, the Mercs. Apart from Honey Badger. Honey Badger has not actually done an awful lot. If anything, he tried to move forward and ended up heading backwards rather than forwards. Bodnian here, and Ross is going to go against Nectar, and Ross still does not have Nectar down the down into the first corner, and this is bad news for Ross. He needs to get past Nectar as soon as he physically can. And all he's doing is holding him up, and now he has a Bodnian behind him as well. A sight you don't want to see when Bodnian has been on such a roll recently. Won the sprint in Dragon Trail. His feature was ended by a mistake, but also was impossible to pass Hasseldor with his teleporting internet in the last race. But now he's won again in the sprint at Barcelona and trying to make his way through without being held up this time in the feature here. We'll see whether or not things can change in this race. So you got Hasseldor and Turbo Boy beside each other now, and Dan the Man is the next target for those two. Tepos is directly behind these of Honey Badger, the car behind that. I think there might have been a little bit of a tap there by Hasseldor to try and get by in that hairpin. Not entirely sure if there was contact there. It looked like it, as we're now going into sector 3. And it doesn't really look like Hasseldor's got much going here, as Dan the Man gets an almost perfect line, I think, in that second to last corner, and nails a little bit of a stride at the moment. And Hasseldor's car does not have enough speed to catch that Super 97 in a straight line. So it would be an audacious move if Hasseldor was going to go for this one. He's not going to go for this one. While he was looking to the inside as well, decided against it. Bodnian is going against Ross. He was momentarily alongside out of turn 1 there, but not able to get alongside out of turn 2, and that means Ross is going to survive through turn 3 and now into turn 4. Bodnian got the outside line here, and it's not a good enough line at all in order to actually sustain it whatsoever. Bodnian is able to Bodnian needs to be able to get past Ross. He's going to go to the outside here up the hill. This would be a good move. He can stick it. He's on the outside of Ross. Maybe cut the inside line a little bit too much there. I'm not sure if that's a penalty, but he gets by Ross nonetheless. And he doesn't get a penalty as well, so that's a good move there from Bodnian, hanging it on the outside of turn 6. And now he's got Nectar to go by. As Chris has got past Pasty again. The front two are starting to pull away a little bit now. Especially OG. OG has got himself a little bit of a gap. Dude also a corner or so in front of everyone else. So the front two thoroughly enjoying this race so far. Chris and Pasty, those are going against each other. And then you've got the three. So again, much like Tier 5, we're moving in trains of 3. And this time it's trade for 3rd, trade for 6th. We'll see whether or not things can happen here. Nectar versus Bodnian. We're going to have a look at this. Those two are going to go side by side, but Bodnian's going to have it on the inside again. That seems to be his favourite move right now. Bodnian on the inside of turn 1. Just taking advantage of everything given to him. And that's going to release Bosnian here. He's not got anyone in front of him now, so that's going to release him for a couple of laps. See if he can catch up to Mortal relatively quickly, but he isn't going to do that, sliding the car as he just did. Ross looking for a little bit of a switch there. It doesn't go for the move as a result, as Nectar's just going to sit there and hold on for as long as he physically can. We're on lap 8 now. Won't be too far away from the pit stops at this point. A couple of laps, maybe 3 or 4. So we go to about the lap 12 mark where people will start to pit in this tier. Nectar still ahead of Ross. It's maybe a little bit too deep though. Coming out of that corner and up the hairpin, and that allows Ross alongside, and it allows Ross in front. Ross getting a good exit there, out the hairpin, drew himself alongside very quickly and was able to just use the inside line of the following corner just to drag himself enough ahead so where Nectar couldn't be alongside going up the hill. And that is well driven here by both drivers. Nectar just a little bit too deep for his own liking, and Ross is now up into 7th, and you've got Turbo Boy who's also looking to try and put himself into the back of this battle now. And then Hasseldor after that. You got Tepos and Honey Badger 11th and 12th. Honey Badger not really able to do anything at the moment. Backsid is all over the, well, he has been not able to get himself back into this race after the incident in turn 1 on lap 2, I'm pretty sure it was. And Perry as well, also not in the case of the same thing. Dan the man is pit, probably a little bit preemptively. Let's see whether or not he can go to the end. Where he is, that might be a penalty for OG. And Dude is sat there probably hoping that it is. I'd be surprised if it isn't, because that looked very deep into the final corner of the uphill. I think it was like in turn 8. As he actually avoided the penalty here. OG still comfortably in the lead, Dude comfortably in second. Chris a couple of corners back here against Pasty, is still fighting him. Mortal there, and Bodney is really close to the back now, starting to move his way through. He's definitely onto the back of this. It's now a 4-person train as we go on to lap 10. And yep, on to lap 10 now with the group here. Everyone fighting for 3rd. We've got 1 spot on the podium available for 4 cars. And here comes Bosnian against Mortal. And Mortal just essentially moves out of the way of Bosnian. Doesn't even bother attempting to fight it. As Bosnian just goes right on by. Even Mortal went to the inside and just backed out in the end. So Bosnian clears 1. It seems to be the main focus of overtakes and actual action right now, Bosnian, as he is starting to make his way through. Pasty is next, and we'll see whether or not Pasty is able to continue, able to actually get something of worth out of that BRZ, because he hasn't been up to this point in the season. Oh no, never mind, that's not the case. He's gonna put that in the gravel, even if it's just ever so slightly in the gravel. It's enough to unsettle the car. And there goes Bosnian through on another person. Pasty drops to 5th. He's going to have a Mortal right beside him as soon as physically possible. And that is not good news for Pasty, as Mortal is now going to go up the inside. Mortal's still there. Mortal should have had a little bit more in terms of aggressiveness to that. He could have had that. Never mind. No, too late. That's not where you make the move. Mortal into the back of Pasty there, and Pasty does well to hold the car, and Mortal doesn't go through, and Pasty is a sign of a good sportsmanship, and that'll bring him to Ross though as we continue on. That'll bring Ross into this set of 3. I think we also have a couple. We have a train or 2. We have a battle even going on between Bosnian and Chris down towards turn 1. Who's going to be in the lead? Who's going to be in the final podium spot? So at the end of turn 1, Bosnian's got the inside line and using it to pinch Chris a little bit and gets 3rd position off of Chris as well. And Bosnian is flying. You've got Dude is just in front right now. Not really getting threatened by anybody, and not really threatening OG either, who is comfortably in the lead as of right now. We go on as we're about halfway through lap 11 now, and turning through turn 5 with the Dude. Let's see if Bosnian and Chris, now Bosnian's going to start clearing Chris as we go along. Chris has cleared past you as well. Mortal not close enough for a move, neither is Ross, and Turbo Boy is trying to put his name in the hat here, and is doing it very successfully. Asseldor there as well, and something Nectar is in 10th now. You know, the Honey Badger directly behind that. Let's see if Honey Badger's able to start moving towards the front like his teammate has been, because he's been stuck behind Tepos the entire time, and Tepos is currently in 12th. Let's see if Honey Badger's going to be able to get himself into the top 10. He's got Nectar directly in front of him. It doesn't look like he's doing an awful lot with it at the moment. As we've got a bunch of people going through this corner now. Nectar's got a bit deep. Nectar's got a bit deep there. Will that allow for a move? It's got Honey Badger alongside. And Honey Badger gets a little bit of a switchback. Gets switchbacked a little bit there by Nectar. He's still there. And Nectar, that is a pretty good move there by Nectar. Pretty good move. He gets it really well. And here comes Tepos. OG has pit, and I think so did Pasty as well. That was pretty well defended by Nectar there. He realised it late that Honey Badger went a bit deep through the corner and took the opportunity to switch back and then used the inside line in the final corner just to hang on for dear life at this point against Honey Badger. Honey Badger is now going to go to the inside here on Nectar, and this should be the easy part. He's going to get alongside. He's going to get the inside line of turn 4, and this should be, yeah, this is the easy part. There goes Honey Badger on Nectar. In the end, a little bit of contact, I think, between the two. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure whether or not that was contact or whether or not that was... Oh, it doesn't make, that angle didn't make it look any easier to tell. So, something might have happened there. I'm not entirely sure whether he's lost the car or got touched, but either way, Nectar's got back through. And Honey Badger is just once again in an unfortunate position where he's just stuck. Cannot get himself through at the moment. As we continue in this race, we're on lap 12 now. Let's see if we've got any sort of battles going on across the grid. Chris has closed up to the Dude a lot because the Dude's tyres are dead. Now Jaguar is starting to close in. Dude's going to stay out. Is Chris going to go in? Chris is not going in. So Bosnian is in the lead of this race right now, but has a 3-second time penalty. I'm not entirely sure how that happened. So Bosnian is in the lead of this race. That didn't take long. In the grand scheme of things, but the 3-second penalty will almost certainly drop him back behind Chris. We'll wait and see when that actually happens, though. For now, Dude and Chris still going at it. They got Ross and Mortal going at it again. We saw these two have a spectacular battle in Dragon Trail. Mortal has a half-second penalty. Let's see if they can have a similar battle here as well. It doesn't look like it's going to be anywhere near as spectacular though, because Ross has got control of it, and Ross is starting to break a little bit of daylight. Mortal probably should be breaking to the outside a little bit more there, as you see, so you can get the wider line. But Ross isn't going to complain with a faster exit, that's for sure. And yeah, it's going through. Mortal just dropping off the back of Ross a little bit, and his half second going to take him into the hands of Vasseldor instead of Ross. It looked like Mortal may have just screwed up a little bit there. Mortal got that wrong. Up the hill, he got it a little bit too deep. Here comes Vasseldor. Will he be able to get alongside? He will not be able to get alongside. Mortal's going to close off the inside as well. And that is well defended by Mortal after his penalty. And Ross is now broken away from these two. After looking at things, I think everyone has pitted back here. Turbo Boy is ahead of Honey Badger. Pasty's in 11th. OG is currently in net P1. Nectar has it. The Dude and Chris have both gone in now. Ross has stayed out. Bodnian stayed out. Mortal's gone in as well, and so has Asseldor. So 4 more into the pits. That leaves us with 4 without, I believe it's 4 without a pit stop, because our backs are yet. So it's 4 without a pit stop so far. Bodney and Ross are back to the Tepos. We'll see when they decide to come in. Can't imagine it being more than this lap. We saw earlier that the extended median stint does not usually work as well. Saeed lost out quite drastically earlier on by doing that strategy. OG has got himself in the lead of this race properly now. OG's in turn 1. Is anyone coming down the line? Dude is coming out the pits as Pasty's coming. And Dude is still there. Dude is still in second. Chris had to put more in the car, so Chris has dropped back a significant amount now. We'll see whether or not Dude is able to drive away from Pasty here. Net P1 and Net P2 and Net P3 of this race, I believe. Bodnian also there and thereabouts. So we'll see where everyone comes out in a minute. I can't imagine Bodnian staying out too much longer. You see the front 4 going through the 3rd sector now. The pit stoppers have just about arrived for those guys. And I think it is going to happen now for Bodnian, who's just pulled off to the inside. The answer, Bodnian is in the pits. And Ross is going to follow him. So everyone is going to end up in the pits here. As we are now looking at the front. But we're now looking at these guys just for the sake of everything here. Nectar also has a pit. As I think he will be the first, he will be the last one to pit. Yep, into the pit lane goes Nectar. Then survives. So OG is in the lead of this race for real. He's going to go over the line now into the 40.8 on his soft tyres. Not particularly impressive time by this tier standard, so I didn't think it would be anyway. I thought it would be more well towards the 30, well toward the lower end of the 40s. Dude is in second. Bosnian has come out in 5th, 6th even. Yeah, Bosnian had to put a lot in apparently. Bosnian has come out in 8th actually. Mortal's come out, and there goes, I think that was Zassador on the outside of Mortal there. Pretty well done, and now we're in like a 4 or 5 car tussle where everyone's just beside each other. This mid-pack has just got a lot more interesting. So Dude and Pasty up front, they're fighting out right now. They're fighting out for 2nd place. Chris is also there and thereabouts, so he's not that far ahead of Turbo Boy, which you'll see that battle in a minute. Asseldor right now heads off against Mortal, and we've got both Bodnian and his teammate here as well. Here comes Bodnian on the inside of his teammate. What is going to happen here? Bodnian's in front. Oh, and it's a teammate collision. Honey Badger has hit the inside of Bodnian, and Bodnian is off the track. And after a 1-2 earlier on, and the amount of wins between the two guys in this season, now we're getting a Hamilton-Rosberg moment there. Oh! The two teammates in the Merc collide and gone from their 1-2, and it's not happening in this race anymore. Bodnian is probably going to be furious at that. Wow. Another feature race for Bodnian ended in a rather interesting fashion that he probably would not have liked to happen. Last week with Asseldor, this week with his own teammate. Wow, that is not what you would have wanted to see for the Mercs. That's for sure. This is his teammate, that's why he wasn't reported. So you don't want the friendly fire, the penalty points or anything like that. Just take it, move on, and have a quiet word with the teammate privately, and move and sort that out between the two of you. That's probably how it should be dealt with. I'm guessing that it's how it was dealt with. Yeah, Asador is currently heading off against Mortal again. There's still Honey Badger on the back of this as well, as he needs to find something. He needs to find something at some point in this race, because he has had nothing to write home about in this one whatsoever. That did not look good for Pasty up the hill. So that's going to allow the dude to start driving away a little bit here. Dude has got a gap. OG got one hell of a gap, though. Dude is starting to develop one for second, as we're on to lap 17 now. 28 minutes through this race. Dude has got probably a second or two ahead of Pasty, and OG's probably amassing probably like an 8 or 9 second gap at this point. We'll see whether or not things are going to change as we go along. Chris is also trying to go after Pasty, but Pasty's got a little bit of daylight as well. Turbo Boy trying to see if he can push himself towards the top 4, maybe even a podium by the end of this one. And he's got Asador just still ahead of Mortal, and then Honey Badger. Ross is trying to get himself back involved in this one. Not been a particularly good race by Ross's standards. Tefos ahead of Bodnian as well back there. Bodnian in 11 after winning the sprint. Through probably no fault of his own. Let's see whether or not things are going to change by the end of this race. Asador a little bit deep there, so Mortal, but neither of them will get a penalty because they were still on the curb. We're getting to understand where that track limit is anyway. Yeah, I know some people have struggled badly when it comes to the track limits in this race, in this race in particular, which is quite funny because I don't think I ever had any problems with the track limits around Carlin. Here comes Mortal and Honey Badger again, and that means that Asador has managed to gain a little bit of breathing room for 6th place there. Let's see if Honey Badger is going to have the speed. The acceleration is definitely with the Viper. But the top speed, I think, might be a bit helpful here for the Merc. See if with the slipstream whether or not he's going for this. He is going to go to the inside here. And he's going to have it. He's going to have it against Mortal here. And Honey Badger is past the Viper. And now he gets to go after Asador. Currently the fastest lap of 40.3 by Perry. That's more what I was expecting. We'll see whether we've still got a long way to go here. We're only on we've only just passed 3/4 of this race. We'll see whether or not Pasty getting a little bit of a slide there up the hill. That might bring Chris and Turbo back into this. It certainly means the dude's going to open the gap a little bit more. And I don't think Dude and OG are complaining with the guys behind him having a little bit of a problem. As Turbo Boy is also really close to the back of Chris now, as Chris is trying to just drag himself towards the end of this race now in this Jaguar. Definitely has the best, definitely has good tyre wear. Best of all 3 of the guys that he's currently fighting, or 2 guys that he's currently fighting in particular. Pasty's tyre wear is abysmal. I think it's the best way of putting it. There's no front left on that left on that car. That car is well and truly out of its tyres. Might have gone too early there, Pasty. For his pit stop, Turbo Boy's still there against Chris. And Chris has got the better tyres and enough pace in particular to hold off for this period of time. And Asador is being chased right down now by Honey Badger. But as we saw earlier, Asador's not scared of Honey Badger. Asador put on one hell of a defence on the Mercs earlier on. So we know Asador can do it. They are closing in on Asador's teammate, Turbo Boy and Chris. Turbo Boy needs to start making a move or two before the rest of the catching pack actually does get on the back of him. we'll see if there's a move in the works here for Honey Badger as we go up the hill. It looks like not really. He's going to have a lot of slipstream though. He's going to have to wait just a little while longer. Asador is definitely still doing a good enough job. So we'll see whether or not he's going to be able to do a good enough job by the time turn 1 hits. We go around the final couple of corners now. We've got three guys fighting in front as well. I think there's Pasty. Yeah, it's Pasty has joined onto the valley. Oh, Pasty's got off the track. Pasty has got off the track. He's got gravel on his tyres now. Let's see if Turbo Boy's got a good move in store as well. He's got the overspeed here, Turbo Boy, compared to Pasty. He's got the inside line and he's got the move done before turn 1. So Pasty's just dropped 2 positions there on one mistake. One just a little bit too deep for Pasty there in the final corner. And he's gone from a potential podium to now fighting for a top 5. And he still has Asador and Honey Badger on the back of him now as well. And we're only on lap 20 of what will be 23. Here comes Asador, looks to the inside, still holds on against Honey Badger as well, but obviously now he's got the help from Pasty. Asador's going to be able to use this as a buffer, and he's going to go to the inside immediately and pushes Pasty a little bit, and that was probably a good idea to get by, but a bad idea in the way he did it. It was probably not the most executed move in the world. He needed Pasty as a buffer, I think. And here comes Honey Badger. He needed Pasty as the buffer. He didn't have Pasty as the buffer, and Honey Badger is just going to go through. That was bad. That was not a good idea from Asador, and he's going to pay the price. And Pasty is dropping like a stone now. He's 8th on the leaderboard. Oh, Asador's cost himself a top 5 there. The execution not as good as the idea, that's for sure. Mortal is now on the back of him, and we're going to go 3-way again between these two. I think it might even be more because Ross is also on the back, same with Bodnian actually. Bodnian going to the outside here against Ross. Ross should be able to hold this one off for just a little while longer, and he will do. Bodnian not able to use the outside line to hang it round in turn 1. We see that Bodnian usually likes the inside line there, so if you can stop it, you usually stop the offense. Here comes Bodnian to the inside. Oh, he's tapped Ross! He's tapped Ross! And he's going to let him by. That's well played. There's a good show of sportsmanship there by Bodnian. It seems to be that happens. It seems to have that happen a lot in the last couple of races. I've seen a lot of people slow down in order to actually save, let people back through if they've done them wrong, which is the case here. And Honey Badger has cleared Asador now, and Asador's got more to defend from Mortal rather than attacking for a top 5. As we're currently going through onto lap 22, well, onto the final sector on lap 21, onto lap 22. And there's about 4 minutes left on the clock here. We might get 23, sorry, we'll definitely get 23, might get 24, I'm not entirely sure. Doubt it. We'll wait and see. It looks like we're going through here. Chris has managed to get himself 3 of Turbo as well. Turbo Boy is looking for a podium, but needs to get a move on. Chris's tyres are significantly better, and that will significantly aid him in his hopes here for a podium position. And the dude and OG are off in the distance. OG has no front tyre. Why did me punting off my teammate have to be caught on the stream? Because it was a battle and everyone was beside each other at that point. It was just unfortunate timing. But yeah, I assume that was dealt in a private message, right, Honey Badger? I'm going to assume that was dealt with very, very calmly in private message. I think Bosnian was the happiest person alive at that point. Yeah, the first two should be considered. The first two should be done, tucked away, provided that they're in a mistake or two here. Even though dude doesn't really have tires, neither does OG. The gap is definitely coming down. Chris does have tires, and Chris might be able to fall something at the end. Turbo Boy also running out of tires right now. Honey Badger does have tires. It's not significant. It's about the same amount as Chris, to be fair. So it's probably up there with one of the best of the top 5. Asseldorf, well, pretty much identical tires actually to Honey Badger. So there's no real effect happening here for Asseldorf either. And I'm not entirely sure what happened to Mortal. He's a night now. That is not good news for Mortal, and he's got Tepos right on the back of him. And Tepos might be able to inflict a little bit more misery here for Mortal. Will he do it? Will he go for it? No, he will not. He's not close enough. And Bosnian also giving Mortal the slip is enough to help out. So we are effectively on the final lap for a large chunk. Here comes Tepos down the inside of Mortal. And Tepos on the inside, turn 3, picked his spot. And caught Mortal by surprise. It definitely caught me by surprise as well. And Tepos moves up into 9th. That's pretty well done by him, even though we haven't really seen much of Tepos for the last couple of weeks. He was leading the title at one point. But he now needs to get his head down. Maybe not in this race, but Le Mans later on, for example, needs to get a good result. Otherwise, it might start falling away from him. We'll go through the Tier 2 standings at the end of this race, so all caught up. Here comes Turbo Boy against, I think that's Honey Badger. Right, that is Honey Badger, so it's Turbo Boy behind, getting attacked from behind rather than Turbo Boy actually doing anything to defend here, to attack here, sorry. And I don't know why I switched to Turbo Boy and it gave me a camera angle of, oh, look at that on the inside by Honey Badger. I'm not sure, it's definitely a tyre thing, but that was a very interesting choice to pick your spot there, and it's one of those where if it works, you look like a genius, but if it doesn't, you look like an idiot. In this case, it's absolute genius there by Honey Badger, and there you go. We crossed the, I didn't even realise we hit the 40 minutes, the Turbo Boy is over the line, and Biff, he didn't even get to get the extra lap. Hasseldorf gets 6th, Ross 7th, Bosnian 8th, Tepos 9th, Mortal 10th, Perry 11th. And our Fax is going to come over in 12th, Nectar in 13th. As the guys are actually still fighting towards the front, and that's actually what we're going to go watch. So I think Chris and the dude, yeah, Chris and the dude are going to fight out the final lap. Everyone else is over the line now. And let's see whether or not there's going to be a last-ditch overtake here by Chris. Dude currently has 2nd unlocked. OG has lost all his tyres, and he is actually visible in the foreground now for 2nd and 3rd. One mistake is all it takes from here. Will OG win the race from here? He's got half a lap to go. Will Dude get 2nd here? He's got half a lap to go. Chris definitely has the best tyres of all 3, albeit that his front right is now dead too. Front left is dead too. So no one really has much of anything left to give in this race. Everything has been left out on the table. Let's see whether or not there's one last twist in the tail here. OG round the 3rd to last, going for the 2nd to last now. The car almost slides through the 2nd to last. He got to the final corner, no pit wall in sight. He's going to go round the final corner. It's definitely a safe corner here for OG. He's gone over the line, and his practice makes perfect for OG, who wins in Barcelona. Dude gets 2nd, Chris gets 3rd, and then Honey Badger's going to finish the rest of his lap with no fuel. It's essentially a lap that didn't really matter much for him anyway. He was 4th, and nothing's going to change it. He's going to end 4th in the end. There you go. A lot of things happened there, but not... Everyone was close together all the time. It was just not in terms of overtakes and... Honey Badger almost spinning on the low fuel. That would have been a little bit funny. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. He's going to end fourth regardless of what the actual time he does on his final lap here is, even if it is a 2 minute 34, which he's currently doing. And there you go, over the line goes Honey Badger, and that will end off the day. He gets fourth in the end, and I think he'll take that. He'll take that and run, because it was not a particularly good day for Honey Badger whatsoever in terms of this feature race. He was all right in the. It was all right in the sprint. Merck 1-2, and it looked to go all the way there, but the Mercs were doing pretty well, and definitely blew up in flames in the second race. So they're just going to take a look at the standings real quick here. Let's see where we are at the end of 5 here in Tier 2. So in Tier 2, we've got a very close championship, actually. So Honey Badger is in first. That explains why he wasn't reported. Honey Badger on 105 is in the lead of the championship so far. Dude, 104 with an ungodly amount of 6th place finishes. And then you got Ross in third, 95. Bosnian in fourth on 91. Tepos on 90. It's not over for there's 8 people still in this title race, realistically. 8 people within 21 points is ridiculous at this point of the season. And in terms of the constructor standings, you've got Merck 196, Dodge 188, Peugeot 173, Porsche 173. That's all split, and Nissan 170, all split by 26 points as well. So there's 5 constructors still vying for a championship here in Tier 2 as well. So it's all huge. All still to play for here in Tier 2, with 3 to go. And with that, I think I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to go and open a lobby very, very shortly. But I will see you guys in a bit.